You ever find yourself just staring at a massive spreadsheet or maybe a folder packed with files, and you're just thinking, what is the actual story here? Well, today we're going to dive into exactly that. We'll see how you can take all that raw, kind of messy data and turn it into real, clear insights with a seriously powerful modern data platform. Okay, let's start with just a number: 75 million. Let that sink in for a second. It's a huge number, right? What could that possibly be? So that's not just some random number. It's 75 million individual stories. We're talking about 75 million trips, fares, and destinations from New York's iconic taxis, all packed into a single 2.5 gigabyte data set. And that, right there, that's the core challenge, isn't it? When you're staring down a mountain of information like this, how do you even begin to ask questions? How do you find those valuable little insights that are hidden deep inside? Well, the answer really comes down to having the right tools and the right workspace. So think of Microsoft Fabric as a modern, perfectly organized workshop, but designed specifically for data. This is where you bring all your raw materials to shape them into something really meaningful. The foundation of this whole workshop is called, you guessed it, a workspace. It's basically the building itself. This is your central hub where you keep everything for a project. All your data, your analysis tools, your reports, all in one clean, contained spot. Okay, so inside our workshop, we've got this really special kind of workbench. It's called a lakehouse. And what makes it so cool is that it can handle pretty much any kind of material you throw at it. We're talking raw, unprocessed files right alongside perfectly structured tables, all living together in one place. And this lakehouse, it has two distinct areas. On one side, you've got the files section. That's where all your raw data, the messy stuff, kind of like a pile of lumber. And on the other side, you have tables. This is for your curated, organized data, the finished parts, all ready for assembly. So the big question is, how do we get our 75 million taxi rides into this awesome workshop? Well, we use something called a pipeline. You can think of it like a smart conveyor belt that just automates the whole process of getting data from its source right into our lakehouse. And the process itself, it's a really simple, guided three-step journey. First, we choose our source, in this case, the NYC Taxi sample data. Second, we set the destination. We'll point it to a brand new table inside our lakehouse. And third, you just hit run and let the pipeline do all the heavy lifting. That's it. Now, every choice we make here is designed to be super efficient. We're loading directly into a table, which makes the data instantly ready to go. We're using a new table, which is really important so we don't accidentally mess up any work we've already done. And for this data set, because it's already so clean, the default settings are perfect. It keeps everything simple and fast. And just like that, the journey is over. All 75 million rows, the whole 2.5 gigabytes of data, are now neatly organized in a structured table we've called taxi rides. And we did it. With no coding, no complicated setup, just a few clicks. Okay, this is where the magic really happens. Now that our data's all organized and ready, we can finally start a conversation with it. We can actually ask it questions and start to unlock the secrets hidden inside those 75 million records. The tool we're going to use for this conversation is called SQL. You can think of it as the universal language for talking to any kind of structured data. Because we took the time to put our data into a proper table, we can now use simple SQL commands to ask it anything we want. So what's a good first question? Let's start here. I know this might look a little like code, but it's really just a simple question in disguise. All we're asking is, hey, taxi data, can you please tell me what the average trip distance was for each day of the week? Simple as that. And boom, here's the answer, visualized perfectly. We can immediately see a pattern, right? Trip distances are pretty steady during the weekdays, but they seem to change a bit over the weekend. We've just turned a massive, raw data set into a clear, simple insight. All right, let's zoom out for a second. We just walked through one specific example with taxi data, right? But the process we followed, that's what makes this whole approach so powerful for pretty much any data challenge you can think of. The real power is having this unified platform. Everything is in one workspace. The lakehouse lets your raw and your refined data live together, no problem. Pipelines give you a simple, repeatable way to get data in. And all of that creates this direct, seamless path from just a pile of raw information to a real, tangible answer. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. I mean, if a process this straightforward can pull out travel patterns from 75 million taxi rides, just imagine for a second, What are the hidden stories, the crucial patterns, the game-changing insights that are just waiting to be unlocked in your data?